Guys, so today we're going to be doing power rankings. Now, we're going to be doing it a little differently this week. I don't have my magnet board with me, but we're just going to go 1 through 32. Like, if you just want to glance at it and then just leave me here, I'd understand. But if you want to know why your team's at the point that they are, you may just want to stick around. But here's the things that are going to be staying the same. We're going to go from the bottom to the top. And I am not liking this list, guys, but that's just my personal opinion. We'll go through it. Number 32, they're in the same spot. The Cleveland Browns. They're the Cleveland Browns. And they're playing really bad right now. No, I shouldn't say really bad. They got in a nail biter against the Bills. I probably should have put the Jets where they are, but we'll get to them in a bit. Number 31, same spot. The Raiders. The Raiders nearly upset the Texans, but I can't move up teams if the bad teams are still finding ways to lose games. And so, which is the only reason the Jets go down to number 30. They move down a spot. Okay. I think, something needs to change in the gangrene. And I don't know what's going on with the Jets. I tried to cut them some slack because they were competitive through the first half of the season, but now they're looking more lifeless than ever. So, yeah. Alright, number 29, down a spot. The Arizona Cardinals. Look, the Cardinals started their game well against the Falcons. What happened after that? Some might ask. Say let the Falcons come back and do whatever they wanted to them. Like Arizona, they should be trying to near the top of the division. Instead, they haven't won a division game, but they've blown games. Games are made. A series of unfortunate events happened to their football team. In games they should have won by a score, or even better, 2 scores or more. So, yeah, but I think most of that was Kyler Murray and him not playing well. Jacoby Brissett has been impressive, but just James Conner out for the year since week 3 has really hurt this team. But who knows? Maybe next year. Number 28, moving down 3 spots, the Washington Commanders. Is it just me, or the Commanders show no life against the Eagles, just handed Philly the ground? And yes, Philadelphia has officially won their division. And Washington had, I don't know, we were just playing for pride going into this game because they couldn't make the playoffs. They weren't even going to get close. So, and same with the Giants. But they blew a game. Washington didn't really show up at all. But they were playing the Eagles, which, that's a pretty okay loss. I mean, they're the Eagles. Commanders are bad this year. But the Giants, they blew a game to Minnesota. I'm glad I didn't take the Giants to win, but I had half a mind to do so. So I'm glad I didn't, but something needs to change in New York. Or I don't think the coaching was the problem. The roster construction is getting better. It's the front office. Front office needs to go. Number 26, moving down 5 spots from last week. Kansas City. They had an inexcusable loss to the Tennessee Titans. Look, I know the Chiefs suffered a devastation last week against the Chargers. And if they were still in the playoff hunt, they probably win this game. If Mahomes isn't injured, they probably win this game. Well, they still might lose, but they put up a better effort than 6 points. When the Chiefs just let the Titans do whatever they wanted to them. Like a team like the Jaguars, the Colts, or the Texans, or even the Buffalo Bills wouldn't let that happen. So that's not a good loss for the Chiefs. But it's a huge win for the Titans, which they were supposed to be worse than the Chiefs. I had them finishing just with a slightly better record than the Chiefs. But that was probably a mistake. But the Titans, they've been competitive the last couple of weeks. They've won a couple of games against the Browns, which, yeah, it's understandable. But this is a signature win that might turn their franchise around. I don't know. Maybe this ranking is a little high for the Titans. But they're playing well, and they beat a Super Bowl representative from last year. That's, in my book, that deserves a lot of credit. And also, it's funny that the Chiefs lost. But the Dolphins, on the other hand, moved down from number, what were they, 19th last week? To number 24? Yeah, 5 spots or so. The Dolphins. We need to talk about the Dolphins. I don't know why they benched Tua after one bad game. Sure, they can't make the playoffs this year. They probably weren't going to at the start of the year. And especially with how bad they started, they definitely don't deserve to make the playoffs. But one bad game to a pretty quality opponent right now in the Steelers should not I'm at a loss for words. I'm on the fence of whether Mike McDaniel should be fired because they won 4 straight. Now they've lost back-to-back to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I'd argue the Cincinnati loss was worse than Pittsburgh. In the second half, the Bengals did whatever they wanted to the Dolphins, and so they move up 5 spots. Yeah, it's dramatic at the bottom of the board. But all of those teams are still no better than the NFC South. Yeah, I mean, the Bengals, did they play Joe Burrow in this game? I don't know. I don't know if they should have. I don't know. They can't make the playoffs. So it really doesn't matter. Saints still can't make the playoffs. But I am going to cut the Saints a bit of slack, though. They've won 3 straight games. Look, like pulling away from the Jets is, well, I mean, I thought it could happen. But that just seemed like a game the Jets would just lose. New Orleans was supposed to be bad this year. But Tyler Shuck has been looking good. The Saints have been looking good. They've won 3 straight games. 2 of them against divisional opponents that are at the top of their division. They're fighting for the title crown in the Bucs and Panthers. And they both have losses to the Saints. So New Orleans has got to feel pretty good about themselves. Especially knowing that they were supposed to be bad this year. Or they didn't have, the Saints fans, I don't know if they had a glimmer of hope going into the season, and their morale is better than like the Chiefs and the Commanders right now. So yeah. I'd argue the Falcons are the same way. I still think the Saints and Falcons will split this year. But Atlanta is starting to become scrappy, just like the Saints. But I really don't think Like, I can't blame the Saints coaching staff or the front office. They just had a bad roster or this year. And I think it will improve. Like, the Saints need to be in a rebuild. The Falcons should have been improving at the very least. I still think Raheem Morris needs to get fired. Unless the Falcons finish, like, so hot. Like, if they go 7-10, and Raheem Morris should be fired. So I'd probably lean towards the Atlanta coach being fired. Tampa Bay, however, they've got to pull together. Like, I mean, sure, the Panthers and Bucks, I'd say they're about equal. But maybe to, like, the Bucks fans or their coaching staff even, that would be an inexcusable loss. Yeah, that might cost them playoffs. Look, I'm going to go over division scenarios in the next few days. It's because I don't think a lot has to do on Christmas Day. Except for Lions and Vikings. Because that could determine last place. So, yeah. But the Bucks and Panthers, it could be over for the Bucks quite quickly if they don't win their next game. If the Panthers do, it's over. But I'll go into more detail on that in a short form video. Number 19. Oh, the Bucks are number 20, by the way. So 22 the Saints, 21 the Falcons, 20 the Buccaneers, 19 the Cowboys, moving down a spot. But I think the Chargers game is an understandable loss. And it was probably devastating watching the Eagles win the division the previous day, so. Yeah. But also for Cowboys fans, watching the Eagles win any day is not very good, so. Yeah. The Cowboys, however, it's another lost season. Now, it's been a wasted season for the Cowboys offense. Because the Cowboys defense at the start of the year was terrible. It's been getting better, but I don't know. Maybe next year? I don't know. We'll have to wait until, like, the summertime to really sort that out. Number 18. Moving down. I don't know, about 4 spots. The Baltimore Ravens. There's something wrong with the Ravens right now. I might have to put John Harbaugh on the coaches to get fired list. Like, you're closer to the end zone when you should just give your best players the ball, and Baltimore has not been doing that. And there are games on their resume where if they just did that 1 or 2 times more in those games, they would have won those games. And that was just frustrating against the Patriots. Now the Ravens are in desperation going into a tough game. So, yeah. I'd argue the Colts are the same. But Indianapolis, I'd argue, had lower expectations with Daniel Jones starting at quarterback. Look. Daniel Jones has been amazing. Aside from the injury in the first time they played the Jaguars, which I didn't think they were going to win in Jacksonville because it was in Jacksonville. And the Colts don't usually win in Jacksonville. But I thought it'd be like, oh, it's a close one. They'll bounce back the next week. Nope. Phillip Rivers has been pretty solid. I just think the Colts have a way harder schedule than anybody else in the league right now. It's like, look, they back-to-back losses to the Seahawks and 49ers are understandable. Oh, but the 49ers kind of just pulled away. and controlled the game. Alright, number 16, moving up a spot, Minnesota. Minnesota's won 3 straight games, all against the NFC East. The only game they didn't win, Philadelphia. Now look, Minnesota might not finish last place. They beat Detroit, they'd have a sweep over the Lions, and they would be in 3rd place. Considering that is impressive, even though they can't make the playoffs. I don't know what Minnesota is. But Max Brosmer is starting, so I'm not very confident in him. He was terrible when they played the Seahawks. Or is Seattle just a good team? I don't want to admit either. But I don't like either team, so I really don't care. Number 15. Moving down 3 spots. Moving down 2 spots. The Detroit Lions. I think your playoff window's closing, Lions. You might want to get going here. The Lions, though. Oh. That is not good. It was not a good performance against the Steelers. So, yeah. Yeah, Lions playoff window is closing. No way you put it. But someone's playoff window has gone the other way and busted wide open. And that's number 14. Moving up 6 spots from last week, the Carolina Panthers. Look, the Panthers, I think right now, have a high probability of winning their division. I thought we'd have to say, oh, we'll just have to wait till the end of Bucs-Panthers, till that game goes final to see how it's going to go. Oh, we just need to find out. And find out we did. Carolina won that game. Now, Carolina might not have to go into a do-or-die scenario in Week 18. And if they win and the Bucs lose, that's it. But I'll cover the division races later on. But the Panthers do have a tough game this week. But they play teams, been playing teams close for 1.5 years now. So, yeah, number 13. I think about the same spot. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now look, Steelers clinched a winning year again. And to go into Detroit and do it, I had that as my upset of the week, and that was a pretty good chance. I thought the Steelers were going to beat the Lions. Like, the Lions were in a free fall. The Steelers were starting to get back into form. And now they might go to sleep Saturday night as division champions. I'll talk about that more in another video. But the Steelers are playing well. Packers are not playing well. They drop a spot to number 12. Yeah. They blew it against the Bears. Again, they led by 2 possessions. They probably should have won. That's only Green Bay's first division loss this year, but that was probably the game you shouldn't have lost. And now not for playoff chances. I mean, you could microscope that a little bit if you wanted to. But I still think Green Bay's going to be in the playoffs. They're too good to miss. we'll talk about a team that's in the playoffs already. But look, all of the teams that I'm about to talk of are, most of them anyway, have clinched playoff spots. The only outlier would be the Texans. We'll start with the Eagles, but probably should have put in the top 10. It's okay. Right? The Eagles, though. Yeah, they went into Washington and put on a statement. It's like, oh, we're just gonna run and get some groceries. We'll be right back. And they came back with a division crown. That's how I put it. So they're in the playoffs no matter what. The Cowboys losing helps. But going into Sunday morning as division champions is a pretty good feeling. And they've broken the curse, so congrats, Philadelphia. Alright, number 10. A team who has not yet clinched a playoff spot. Soon, though. The Houston Texans. I really think Houston's going to be in the playoffs. And not even playoffs. Talk about winning their division. And I've got a microscope the AFC South because, look, the Colts could still win it. They can't get the 1 seed, but they could still win their division. No, they can't. Jacksonville's too far ahead. What am I thinking? Jacksonville. Whatever. Houston, I really think it's going to be in the playoffs. I think Indianapolis will miss. If Indianapolis gets a winning record with low expectations, I think I'll be okay for them. But Houston has higher expectations. And their division's just pretty good this year. Number 9, same spot as last week, the Chargers. The Chargers, they have clinched playoffs. Lost because the Ravens lost. Or no, Ravens or the Colts lost. Somebody lost. But also, but you could say that their game against the Cowboys clinched the playoffs. It didn't officially, but let's say it did. They deserved to be in the playoffs after that performance. That's all I'm going to say. Like, the Chargers can go through injuries, and they can still be a good team. Sure, they have had some tough games. There have been some really bad games, but everyone this year seems to have had a bad game now and then. And, like, okay, sorry about that. Alright. So, yeah, Chargers. The number 8 moving down 7 spots. And I am very unhappy with my Los Angeles Rams. How do you blow a game against the Seahawks of all teams that you were leading by 3 possessions and I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to think of this team right now. I still think they're going to win the division, but now I've got to rely on the other teams to lose. So, yeah, good going, Rams. The Broncos also lost too, so they moved down 6 spots. Considering that last time we did power rankings, these were the only 2 teams that had clinched playoff spots. And now look what happened. Everybody else won and clinched a spot. Yeah. Yeah, the Broncos, I think they had a wake-up call against the Jags. There's no good losses. But they had a wake-up call against the Jags. I think the Broncos will probably learn from that. And look, it's not an inexcusable loss. It's certainly not a good loss. It's kind of just like a wake-up call. But before that, they won 11 straight games. They were bound to drop one sooner rather than later. Just be glad it's not the playoffs yet. Number 6, moving... Okay, maybe the same spot as last week. Buffalo Bills. Bills clinched playoffs with a win over the Browns. A little closer than it should have been, but hey, what's done is done. Alright, the Bears move up. Or, no, they're in the same spot. Look, all the teams ahead of them had really good performances. The Bears did too. Coming back and just stunning the Packers to clinch the playoff spot. And now they're in the driver's seat for the NFC North. Who'd have thought? Well, I thought the Bears would be pretty good this year. I didn't think they'd be this good. They just got the right coach. Yeah, it must be the coaching. Number 4, moving up 4 spot, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags had a really good win in Denver. And it wasn't in Jacksonville. The game was in Denver. I thought Denver was going to be the heavy favorite. Jacksonville, keep it close, but in the end, Denver pulled away. Well, the game was close for a while. But in the end, Jacksonville pulled away and won 34-20. But to beat the Broncos by 2 positions when you're not supposed to beat them that's a pretty good win, if I do say so myself. The Patriots had a close one against the Ravens. Let's not forget the Ravens are still a competitive team. But the Patriots, they clinched playoffs with that win. But now, I'm not going to be very happy for the next 2. I'm okay with the Niners being at number 2. Because the Niners are, how do we say this? A good team, even when injured. Christian McCaffrey's been the difference this year. I say it each and every week. And each and every week, he does a lot of things, and the Niners win. A healthy CMC is the driving force for this team. But the Seahawks are more well-rounded, and they beat the Rams in a thrilling comeback that people won't stop talking about. Because I don't like to talk about it because my team lost. I'm not biased, but I'm not completely biased because I put the Seahawks at number 1. So, can we leave it at that? Seahawks clinch playoffs with that win. Great. Seahawks, I really think, are going to be one and done. So, those are the power rankings for week 16. I don't think I'm going to post the new power rankings after this point until the new year. But we will have the magnet board back. I might post the power rankings next week on New Year's Eve. We'll have the magnet board back. Next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.